Bantotal Developers.
So Bantotal Development. Firstly, we're going to make a presentation on what Bantotal is. Bantotal is a banking core, a critical emission system which takes care of all the operations related to financial operation, as was said in the keynote. So let's see what are the products and the services that Bantotal offers. It is installed in 15 countries, and we have more than 50 banks as clients, and they are from various kinds of institutions, public banks, private banks, financial institutions, universal banks, etc. Thirdly, Bantotal is operated every day by more than 60,000 users. Those are the internal users. To give you an idea, the stadium, the football stadium in Uruguay, has can have up to 60,000 spectators. And then Bantotal manages the finances of more than 20 million families and companies. So, this said, let's go to the second topic that we were discussing with Nicolas when he asked me to come here during the keynote. Digital transformation. Of course, Bantotal and the banking sector are immersed in digital transformation, and now we hear about digital banking, and Carlos explained the challenges that the banking sector is facing. Our vision is live banking. This is the big opportunity that the banks have in these times of technological transformation. What is live banking? Firstly, is to participate at the times that the people are living. Not technologies, but moments. And at that time, with its own technology, the bank has the opportunity of participating and solving the issues that the people face. So that is our vision. But once again, as Carlos said, vision without action is nothing. Therefore, our actions with regard to live banking is Bantotal Developers. Now we'll ask you to imagine that Bantotal Developers is a restaurant. And the objective of Bantotal Developers is to cook live banking dishes for various periods of life. And for that, we need ideas and cooks. And you are the chefs. You're going to have to imagine the moments, prepare the recipes, and then cook the dishes. So in order to motivate you, we are going to convene the most feared critic for chefs, or the most feared by chefs, which is Antonello from the film Ratatouille. This has a bigger meaning than what our critics show. He takes risks every time he defends something new, and usually the world is cruel vis-à-vis new talents, the new creations. Anything that's new needs a little bit of caressing. So announce, I experienced something new. I experimented a new dinner from an unexpected source. He's not only a creator, he has challenged my prejudices, and I've been touched in my deepest fiber. In the past, I never hid that I disdained the motto, anyone can cook. But now I realize what these chefs wanted to say. Not anyone can become a great artist, but one great artist can come from anywhere. It is difficult to imagine a most humble origin than that of the genius that is now cooking in the restaurant Gustave, who, in the opinion of this critic, is none the less than the best chef in France. Isn't this cute? now, in this talk, we are going to go back to some of the reflections from Antonego. He said, not anyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. That is why Bantotal Developers would now like to call upon my great friend and colleague D.Cybulski. Hello, nice to see you. I'm going to discuss the context in which we are living and the opportunities we see, which are the reason for which Bantotal Developers exists. Sometimes our egos don't allow us to see that the world is changing. We stop at ourselves and we don't see what happens around us. Fortunately, it's not our case, because now more than ever we are taking care of what's going on around us. And we don't hire services like in the past. We don't even order food as we used to. And things happen at such a speed that some people say that the internet, which is a very recent invention in historical terms, is disappearing. This is something a bit audacious to say, but for me, it could be right for two reasons. Firstly, because we human beings have difficulty in noticing elements that are always present in our life. It is necessary to be really awake in order to notice them. And secondly, this has happened before. It would seem that we human beings have a lot of creative capacity to build solutions, but we are quite repetitive in the process of putting these solutions into practice in our lives. I don't know what's the name of the process, but it's more or less like this. New technology comes up. At the beginning, it's very costly. Few people have access to it. Demand increases. More people have access. And means to lower the costs are found until the technology becomes massive. When this happens, new uses and applications for the technology are found, and they were not imagined when it was first created. An example of all this is electricity. I imagine that when some of us, well, I'm not imagining, I'm certain, one of us, when we go to a hotel, we see that the electricity is working, and of course whether they offer breakfast and whether they have Wi-Fi. And it was not always the case. This was the case 100 years ago. The Langford Hotel is announcing in big words that now they have electricity. And now, very shyly, they announce that they have internet. The thing is that important technologies, those that last in time, are so interlinked with our lives that we no longer perceive them. The prices of cheap sensors and chips and low-cost connectivity allow us to include all these elements in our daily objects, the ones that are with us in daily life, so that they can interconnect and intercommunicate through APIs. The moment will come when we will be so imbued in this connectivity that we'll cease perceiving it. The technologies that last, therefore, are embedded in our life, and we are in a process in which we now imagine uses and applications for the current technologies, those that are at hand, that had not been foreseen when they were created. And many opportunities, therefore, come up. The financial system is not an exception, And we could, for example, start thinking of including in the financial system 2 billion people, according to the report Universal Financial Access of the World Bank. It was issued last month, and it says there are 2 billion people who don't have access to formal financial systems because of the distance from their homes to the banks and also because of costs. So the current technology would allow us to reduce the distances and lower the costs. But the opportunities go beyond the bancarized world. Any action we carry out in our life which ends up in a monetary transaction is an opportunity for adding value. Twice a week, my son Manuel has lunch at school. So we give him money to buy something to eat and suggest him to buy healthy food. And he does what anyone in his place would do. He buys ice cream and sweets, etc. This is a problem that could be easily solved with an application that would allow me to select which kind of food he buys, and then maybe with his fingerprint he would buy the food in at school, and then I would spend less in dentist. I asked Marcos to develop such an application, but after much thought, I will have to wait for this solution to be launched. So I can think of this possibility, but I'm sure that you can all think of something similar. In this time of digitalization of businesses and companies, there are different opportunities to design disaggregated services for savings, payments, transfers, etc., in order to improve the user experience and lower the company's operation costs. And this translates in a reduction of the friction between the customer and the financial institution. So much so that each one of the parties can think of other things which are really of interest to them. And there are possibilities of inventing solutions all the time because the technology is there, and also there are entrepreneurs and developers who need ingredients to cook these dishes and these solutions. So Bantotal Developers proposes to bring these solutions together through APIs so that they connect with Bantotal, and from Bantotal they are transferred to the banks and from the banks to the clients. So that's the ultimate goal, to have a platform that will allow us and the banks to see where innovation is coming from, and at the same time reach projects and solutions that add value and connect people to their daily life and activities in a simple manner. As you see then, we are in a world in which there are new possibilities and developments, a world full of novelties. And as you know, we are faithful followers of Antonego, and what he says is that new endeavors need friends. That's why we encourage you to be with us, Bantotal Developers, so that we can continue building solutions for life. Now, my friend Marco is going to tell you more about it. Hello, I'm Marcos, the engineer. And forgive me for these notes, but throughout the years I have seen that some things fail. For some, it's hair, for me, it's memory. And therefore, I decided to abandon my memory before my memory abandons me. As you see, there are some failures that are partial, others are total. So, it's my turn to talk about technological frameworks. And in Spanish, the work framework also means is called Marcos, and Marcos is also the names of these two people, Marcos 1 and Marcos 2, who are both going to ask and answer questions. Bantotal Developers and the new Bantotal Kitchen. This is new and innovative. Well, actually, not even close. In a previous presentation, we heard that there are people who are doing this already. It's called developing a platform, or in the case of banks, bank as a platform, a new model in which banks extend their value chain by integrating to a word which is interconnected, and therefore they compete by connecting themselves to. And amongst us, developers and programmers, we say they are making APIs so that they find solutions with them. So, the next question. If I understood this correctly, Bantotal Developers is a platform? Yes. Good, brilliant. Bantotal Developers is a platform that integrates banking services with the outside world. The world of applications, the world of developers. So, how can we build a platform? The first thing to do is to build a portal for developers so that they register their ideas so that we can publish all of our APIs. If developers find what they are looking for, the APIs they need, they are easy to use and they have good documentation and good cases of use, then they use them and we are doing fine. Otherwise, in terms of cooking, we are in the oven. Now I'll get more technical. I'll show you something about design. I remember that this was one of our first designs. And don't focus too much on the drawing, don't try to understand us. I will explain the important aspects. Firstly, someone we've introduced in previous events, PT Service. It's the one that publishes our services. The other thing that is not so new is Bantotal Developers that integrates developers' applications and services. External applications execute the services. All these under a security model, which is Bantotal Security Manager, which is the one that validates that the applications are registered and the services are registered in the applications, and, for example, that an application is executing services in the account of a client as allowed. Security is always explicit. You can only do what has been declared, and the only one that can allow for something is the owner of the resource. So there's nothing that you don't know. REST services, publications with Swagger, and security modified version as you see here. So these are things that Genesis has already. That is why you can do things like these with Genexus. Dream digital. Dream, but dream awake. Dream by doing. And as Picasso said, inspiration should always find us working. So, make your last question, sir. My question is a question that people never ask, although they wonder all the time about it. Very nice kitchen, but tell me, these dishes, don't they have a lot of smoke? Now that I brought you here, so let me explain. For us, this is part of lay banking law. Since the last event, we developed mobile applications, went to hackathons, and we developed a lot of services for our clients. For the developers, it's the natural evolution of our vision. Bantotal Developers is the piece in the puzzle that was missing. As Alan Gates said, the best way of predicting the future is by building it. And for a minute, I'm going to get ready now to open the Bantotal kitchen. There's supposed to be an apron here. So, the Bantotal kitchen is open. And let me introduce my colleagues, who are your future helpers in the kitchen. Those that make a difference, those that follow me everywhere. And I was forgetting something. As mentioned before, one more thing. Let me review whether everything's ready or not, and whether I have all the ingredients. So, the kitchen is ready. There were works done, and now it's ready. And now the team. The team is always ready. Genexus 15, fresh out of the oven, like in old times. It was brought by Nicholas. And these never fail. Oh, you. Are you there? Are you ready? Yes, of course. So I'm writing this down. And finally, we have to decide what the menu is going to be. So, what are the dishes we are going to cook tomorrow together? So, ladies and gentlemen, surprise me.